back to Nanowrimo Show. I'm J&J Booksmart, and today we are here to talk about the 1819 books that I read in July. It's one of the two. I actually don't really remember. 18 books that I read in July, which is exciting. Some of these we're going to actually summarize pretty quickly. Some of these we're not. So let's go ahead and jump into this. And yeah, because there's 18 of them, you know. First things first, if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Jacob. I am a self-published author. I have 4 books currently. 3 of them are of trilogy, and 1 of them is a bind-up of that trilogy. So let's quickly just talk about Gunshot Residue, the complete edition, which is the entire trilogy in a single book, as well as Alex and DeMarcus, as Alex learns that DeMarcus is a spy and is pulled into the world of espionage and a bunch of other shit. Like, oh my god, it gets really fucking wild if you ask me. The main inspiration for this, and then the comp title that I would give you if you like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the Angelina Jolie Brad Pitt movie, I would recommend. The first 2/3, not really like it. There's like some elements I'm sure you could pull. Third act had some really fun little things that I was really excited to adapt, particularly on chapter 34, if you're reading the complete edition. Okay, anyway, very fun. Let's go ahead and get started in the books that I read this month. Honestly, 18 really shocked me because I felt like I read nothing. First things first, I started off this month pretty strongly by finishing Gate of the Pharaoh Gods by Matt Denman. I actually had plans to read the next like 3 or 4 of these back to back. However, I read 3 and 4 back to back, and that was a bad idea. So I'm actually giving the series a little time to breathe. You will see it before the end of the year. That is a goal of mine, is to finish it. However, it's probably me later than I originally had initially expected. That's fine. The Gate of the Pharaoh Gods is the 4th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. The Dungeon Crawler Carl series is about Carl as he is pulled into a dungeon with Princess Donut. There she is right there. And they are forced to survive in this environment. Yep. This was a 4.25. I very much enjoyed it, and like I said, I am filming a full entire spoiler-free video on it. I just want to quickly continue running through the books I physically have, and then we'll talk about all the books I don't have at the very end. I hope that's understandable. For instance, I'm just going to talk about Heartstopper Volume 1 here. However, I did read all 6 volumes, and I have a whole video I'll link you over to it as well of me reading them and talking about them. Heartstopper follows Nick and Charlie as they meet during Charlie's grade 10, year 10, and Nick's year 11. They start off as close friends and realize that there might be something more to it, and the series is officially complete, so you can read every single one. In that video, we do read volume 6 together, which I thought was a fun idea, and I do plan on doing that with other series going forward. Maybe not in that capacity, but in other videos going forward, because I really liked it. Overall, the series is a 5. I really enjoyed them. Moving onwards, I also read Unearthly this month by Sydney Hand. I've been trying to read more of my backlog books, and it's just not. This was a 3.25. This follows a girl as she learns that she is 1/3 demigod. Her mom is part angel, and so she is even further out from being part angel. Her and her brother will get these missions where they have to go save someone. They become their guardian angel, essentially. Normally that's the person like they fall in love with or whatever. And it's this guy in a wildfire in Missouri or something, Michigan, Wisconsin, something like that. And so they end up packing up their entire lives for her to go find them. And I found the world that was being built very fascinating, very interesting. Everything else around the world, no, not for me. It's a 3.25. I wouldn't really recommend it. However, it is like some people's like really favorites. I also like, I feel this way about Fallen. I don't remember where I put those on my shelves, but Fallen is somewhere in here, and I feel very similarly. I feel like if I read those today, I'd also hate them. You do enjoy Unearthly, but you read it when you were younger. I get that. I could see myself also really liking it. And lastly, we'll talk about The Anti-Relationship Year by Katie Weismer. I'm actually going to link you over to this video. I'll probably just link you to the playlist in general, just because it's easier for Katie Weismer. I talked about this book I liked on this channel. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It has one of my favorite book boyfriends of all time. Miller is just truly a godsend. This follows Jo as she is going off to college. It follows her freshman and senior year. During her freshman year, she ends up meeting this guy who ends up being bad news. In his senior year, we're dealing with the consequences of some of those things from freshman year and seeing some really good things, while also feeling a little bit more closer to Miller, who is her best friend. I fucking love this. This is a companion novel to the Anti-Virginity Pact. You don't need to read it to read this. And there's a character in this that got their own spinoff called Tell Me It's Right. So if you end up liking the character named Gracie, after her senior year, we actually do end up seeing something like that as well. Which is why I'm just recommending you to the Katie Weismer playlist, because I do talk about all that stuff accordingly. Alright, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the books I don't own, which is all the other ones. There's quite a bit of them. Starting off with Doe. Doe by Rebecca Barrow is a horror novel that is also written in verse. I listened to it as an audiobook, so you can't really tell it's written in verse. It just means it's a much shorter audiobook listen. It's actually part of the reason why I did pick it up. Apparently I did put this on hold. I don't remember putting this on hold. I do that quite a bit. I'll find a book. The book will be advertised to me in some way, shape, or form. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, and I'll go ahead and put a little bit, like a little hold on it on my Libby. and then I'll just forget about it, and then I'll show up like several months later. I'm like, I don't know idea what that is. But I don't read the descriptions anyway, so like, what does it matter? This follows two different timelines. So we're following one that's take place back during like the Salem witch trials, where this group of girls end up finding a doe-like lady and cursing her to them. Essentially, you have to, in order for her to be able to use her magic, to be able to talk to them, to be able to protect them, they have to be interconnected with this group. Then we're following, it's like 100 or so years later, and now we're following to, actually, probably like 1,000 years later. What is time? I don't know. It's a very big gap. Okay, we're setting back now. We're in modern time. Okay, however long that is. And now we're following a group of cheerleaders who are pretty much disliked in this town. One of them ends up fighting this creature and becoming close friends with them. And this creature has a lot of plans, is all I'll say. I gave it a 3.5. I felt like it could have went so much further. It was so small in scope and everything else that I was a little disappointed. Then I read The Secret World of Briar Rose by Sydney Pham. This is one of my most anticipated. To be fair, the cover is giving not Sleeping Beauty, but like Tangled to me, like Rapunzel. This is a Sleeping Beauty retelling that follows a girl, princess, it starts with an A, named like Aurora, but it's not Aurora, as she is cursed to sleep, so she does fall asleep. And then we're following these two sisters. One of them is younger, one of them is older. The older one, the world they live in is a tyranny. Evil rulers are ruling the kingdoms, taking away all the food, making people very sick, very malnourished, that type of stuff. And the older one very much is under the impression that this is the life that they're going to have to live, and she is trying to make the best life for her sister as she possibly can in the situation that she has. Her sister, on the other hand, believes in the legend of Sleeping Beauty, and that the castle that is talked about is buried under these mountains, and she's gonna go find the castle. She's gonna go wake the Sleeping Beauty and so forth. Well, they do end up finding the castle, and the Sleeping Beauty telling is real, but they end up being transported into a world of her dreams, and that's where the story really takes off. Elements of this were really cool, elements of this were not. I honestly, it just didn't really work out for me. I wish it did though. I gave it a 3. I just really wanted more from it. Yeah, I just really wanted more from it. Then I had 2 books I did not rate. So we had The Last Contract of Isco by Fonda Leap. This is just simply because I ran out of time. July was a hard month for Jacob, is all I'm gonna say, and so my reading got affected, and Last Contract of Isco I really was enjoying, and I'm really excited to continue onwards in it. I did put it on a rehold and had to give it back and stuff, so it's just a softy enough. Once it comes back to me, I will finish it. And then the other one is The Odyssey. I read this because I was going to go see the movie, and so I was like, okay, I should probably read the original poem by Homer. So I did. I read it in one sitting because I told myself I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't read it really quickly, which, take that as you will, is a classic. You're supposed to, technically, I would say with most classics, not every classic, you're supposed to, especially like the original story, like this is the original, you're supposed to take your time. However, I've already deep dived into the story. I did a whole entire piece on it in high school. I talked about it again in college. So, like, I'm pretty familiar with the text of the Odyssey, so like I wasn't that impressed about not reading it in one sitting. I didn't like it. I've never liked it. I don't know why I reread it. I never have liked the story of the Odyssey or the way it's written or anything like that. I have a lot of respect for it. I couldn't do what I want to do if the Odyssey doesn't exist. There's like something about that. However, I will say this much. I like the movie better. Sue me. Okay. Let's move on. Then I read Clara and the Devil by Olivia Blake. This follows our main character, Clara, as she is in this relationship with this guy, and she ends up meeting the devil. And the devil ends up befriending her best friend, who seemed like he was pretty straight. And then the devil was like, "You're not." And he's like, "Oh shit, I'm not." And they end up in a pretty toxic relationship. Whereas we also have Claire, who wants to fucking bone the devil. She doesn't say so, but oh my god, she wants to. I didn't like this. I didn't like this at all. I don't like Olivia Blake's writing. I've never liked Olivia Blake's writing. The artwork here, though, makes me so sad I gave it a 2. It's so beautiful. It's so mesmerizing. It's so perfect. That sucks. But that's it. Then I read last night, I Dream of Home by Sophie Lee. I honestly had no idea what this was about. A lot of people on NetGalley were wanting to read it, and I was like, okay, people want to read it? I want to read it too. So I requested, I got it, I read it. This follows a boy and a girl. They're both exchange students who end up going to a college further away from home in Tokyo. I want to say it's Tokyo. And they end up meeting and they end up having an encounter, but they don't really divulge into their relationship too much, and they're both are equally missing something from home, and both of them are dealing with pretty adult things for this being YA. I just didn't care for it. Nobody like stuck out to me. Nothing was like revolutionary to me. It was just fine. I gave it a 3. With Boyfriends by Kai Spellmer, this is another one that I was so looking forward to. I ended up really just not liking the characters, which makes me so sad. There is a few other little relationship stuff going on here that I really did like, and I do also enjoy the actual relationship between the two boys. This is one of those books, however, I will have to say I do think hurt. Also, because it does open up for a sequel, it doesn't fully close the storylines or anything, so there's an annoyance to it. But my point here is that both boys get a POV, and I find in stories like this, it just didn't fully work. However, there's other elements of this that did. I gave it a 3.25. I particularly enjoyed an older gentleman's relationship here, is all I'll say. And the last two were graphic novels. So we had Star Wars Darth Maul. This is just his origin story to explain how he became Darth Maul. Very simple if you ask me. I gave it a 3.5. I felt like the artwork was pretty good. I felt like the story was pretty nice. I'm sure it's been adapted and been told. And then I read Thunderbolts Volume 1 No Quarter. Honestly, the cover really intrigued me, and I was in a Thunderbolts. I was in like a mood, I guess, for Marvel. I still am a mood for Marvel, and I will pick up more, just not yet. And I gave this a 2.5. The artwork here is atrocious. The way they sexualize characters is horrendous. And yeah, it really just pissed me off, to be honest with you. I've read some really, really bad Marvel stuff here lately. It's not good. That's okay. And guys, that's all the books that I read this month. Let me know what your favorite book is. My favorite book of the month is definitely Heartstopper Volume 6. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite book was. How were your stats? Were you happy with your reading? To be fair, I'm fine with my reading, and my actual average rating for the month is actually, it's not that bad. It's a 3.92, only because I read so many Heartstoppers. In reality, I didn't really read a lot of great things except for Heartstopper. Yeah, either way. All right, that being said, I'll talk to you all next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.